game stalled out a little bit, and we'll see that here in game number 3 today of that stall out. 17 players, if it stays now, will need to fall before Storm Surge.
And this is something where we don't see happens, but you tend to get a little bit of, I don't want to say jankiness, but a little bit of something different of a look in match number 7, because people go back and they game plan. They look and see, there's like, hey, where is there a gap? Is there a POI or point of interest that is available? Is there somebody who's maybe not rotating well? Or like, hey, dude, we just get completely waxed 06 off of our drop spot and we need to go somewhere else, right? Like, you have the ability to kind of go check the VODs, figure out what you did wrong or what you did well, and do more of that and lean into it. And sometimes that catches players off guard, but then immediately you can see adjustments come in match number 8, and we get a little bit back to kind of that typical NA West late game tournament style.
Hugger's being very aggressive. I mean, already took some shots from 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥𝕥, Rex, and 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥, but still being up there, still jumping around looking for any sort of tags. I mean, they're going to need it, so it makes sense that they're looking for it, but with where they're being held out of, giving that much information over is not as good as you want it, but of course, again, it's all negated because they have this stuff. No matter what damage Ability takes right now, as long as it's not them going down, it doesn't affect their overall loot pool because they can just regenerate it back. 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥 and 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥, or rather Rex, you see sitting up there. 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥 is sitting in that bush, and that's both great, but also it's very, very risky. One wrong play and you're down.
Speaking of risky, 𝕙𝕥𝕥 caught a heavy bullet there with his chest. Luckily, didn't catch it with his forehead, because you can see right on top of those old Guardian Spires. Well, they're not known for necessarily taking and ramping on top of somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if they felt like they were opening, they'd 100% sail. The thing is, that body shot basically guarantees them completely out of the first kind of Storm Surge special. Like, that's generally going to end up being enough with the addition of any rifle tags. So you do see that's an odd pull. On top of Believer's Beach or Holly Hatchery over there, but we're going over to the woods, partially the swamp, so it should be interesting. As well, I feel like I'm in the middle seat, which is honestly not where I started, you know, being 6'1" and having decently long legs, so it's been a while there, but I don't think I'd want to be in that car, because these guys are a little bit reckless with their pass. They're always looking to kind of trade some shots out there, popping in and out of the window. It's much safer to avoid confrontation.
What's great about the way they've been rotating lately is they do it in a way that anybody inside the zone is not going to know it's 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥. Because if they just go in straight from Believer Beach, everyone knows, oh, that's them shooting them. So they have to cause a little bit of misdirection with where they're going. Going all the way south, this is going to be a team that players think is coming from Slurpee, so they don't really have to worry about a lot, obviously, other than these two teams shooting at them now. But again, they have a chug cannon. It doesn't matter what cannon they take as long as they don't go down.
Yeah, because again, that exotic chug splash cannon, which you are able to get, there's one NPC where you're able to get it from, but almost all of these players will be getting them from those llamas that spawn out in the map as we get some pulsar and pulsar action tricks, knocking in the feed there, able to take Nico down. You can see 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥 trying to trade the shot on over, and you kind of talked about it, those chug slash games, because the charges end up going back up, especially in the mid game, as long as you're able to be mobile, kind of keep changing these angles and not end up in a consistent fire situation where you're taking a bunch of damage, which also just doesn't happen a ton kind of in these scenarios. You're just not going to get teams full committing to a fight. It becomes so valuable because you poke out, you get a couple shots, and the other team's like, oh, it's okay, we got like 3 rifle shots, that's great. But if you get 3 rifle shots and then the chug splash cannon is able to top you off every single time without ever having to invest those super valuable big shields, it's just so good.
Moving over to Boney, you see Kimchi, Snacky, and Favs on their rotation again. They are now behind, only by 4 points, but once 𝕙𝕥𝕥, 𝕙𝕠𝕥𝕥, and Rex have a lead, it's very hard to catch them. They are luckily above Surge, but with 16 players below, 137 I don't think is going to be as safe as they want it to be. They're going to need to look. It'll be close depending. Now 157, so they're moving up. They're getting some tags, which is great. You don't want to sit here and just be comfortable with it. But their rotation, these next couple of zones, are going to be very challenging if it continues to pull this out. Because look at how many players are holding them from the zone.
Yeah, and it could get awkward very quickly because this rotation, we've talked about how teams prioritize kind of getting onto these bridges and being able to refarm the materials out of them because they are so efficient, and they create a real natural choke point, as well as having just a bunch of recyclable loot in the situations. In a lot of circumstances, it's one of the few spots where you can access a bunch of metal either from the railings or some of the underparts of the bridges, depending on where you are in the map. So, but able to just kind of back off 𝕦𝕤𝕤𝕒𝕐 and co. with no real challenge, but that's because, as you see to the south of them there, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 trios posted up right on top of each other, Clay.
Ooh, and it pulls to the south. This will be interesting. Honestly, if they go up that hill, they have a clear line to the zone. It's going to take them a little bit of investing, but they should see that there's not a lot of building there and should be able to make that rotation, but instead they're going to go right to the white line of it, and now making that change, realizing, hey, there's a lot of people there. This will be good for them.
Yeah, they just need to kind of break that first line of sight there. You can see the team doubling back over the bridge. 𝕦𝕤𝕒𝕒𝕒, high ground, trying to put some pressure over there, but they don't really want to commit to this. If they can kind of actually get above that little hill there and change, and as soon as they're able to do that, if they can head interior and break that kind of first line of contact, you're set. You look down the bottom right-hand corner, we talk about white lining it. That's that straight white line, which is the shortest distance between the player we're watching and own. But now that they've kind of changed that angle a little bit, you can see where that white line before all of a sudden had 4 or 5 trios along it, but they go a little bit more to the east, move a little bit more centrally, and there's no trios there. And that's what we talk about, finding a good rotation path, and that's all they care about, because they're 503 damage above Storm Surge. They know that, hey, all of the elimination, all of the placement points come in the late game. This is a marathon. It is not a sprint. If you want to stay neck and neck with 𝕙𝕦𝕒𝕒𝕒, 𝕙𝕒𝕒, and Rex, every single game you have to be eking out points and doing all of the right things, because you know they are.
Great rotation will set them up for a good end game, but continuing to get tagged up, it's not what they want. Is Storm Surge is going to turn on. Only 2 players need to go down, so it's not that big of an issue around the rest of the map, but they're above. They're well above, and they should be good for the next couple of surges. They don't really have to worry about a lot, but what I'm worried about, I mean, just looking at their utility, when you have cabbages in the inventory, usually it pairs with a lot of other heals, but they didn't really have a lot. They had an open spot there. Didn't seem like they had extra big shields. Didn't seem like they had a chug cannon.
No, and it could just be potentially looking to increase the options you end up having, right? Because if you then do walk over a medkit at any point in time and you have 15 cabbages, you basically guaranteed yourself the opportunity to get one of those absurd double medkit plays where you dip out into the zone, you take a tick of the storm, you pop the medkit, then you start popping a bunch of cabbages, and you're able to kind of get your running HP back above that 90 effective threshold, which allows you to pop a medkit in the zone where normally it wouldn't be possible without the teammate helping you. And one thing I want to talk about, this lobby was really, really, really dense. We had like 86, 87 players, and then in this transition between second to third zone, before Storm Surge even turned on, because we had to rotate so far to the south and so many teams were already in between there, we've only had 1 trio be pressured by Storm Surge this entire time. They're doing a great job fighting it off, whatever it is. This is now just turned off, and we're just outside that first placement threshold, but a little bit of a reprieve there with the zone continuing to pull south as we get it up into the north. And this is kind of an awkward area of the map because there's a ton of trees. If somebody is able to get the fireflies down, things can get weird, but you're also in a spot where if the moving zone pulls to the east and you start heading over to kind of that back and forth little mountain valley area, that's one of the highest elevation points on the map, those rotations are painful.
This is going to be such a hard rotation for everyone on this side. No one's going to find an easy rotation. So many people are being gate kept out. Look at that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trios inside of the zone right now.
And then one thing to note, too, while you're looking at this map, any area where you kind of see the gray on it, that is a change in verticality that is super steep. That denotes like a swift change in the mountaintop. So you can see already that we have 3 trios who are posted up right in the internal, already occupying the 3 key high ground areas. Everyone else is going to be packing in around the outside and just hoping to control whatever amount of space. But one of those trios who's already up there are first place, going for the 4 in a row, trying to toss 5x in the name the 100 Thieves do duo, 𝕙𝕠𝕒 and Rex Energy's epic whale, and they're just throwing shots away. And right now, they don't seem too worried. They have a great priority positioning. The half in, half out could drop right on top of their head. There's not really a ton of space between them, and I think they've isolated a solo 𝕙𝕠𝕒.
Ooh, just gonna miss it. They show below for now. We'll wait and see when that updates. They're gonna be 69 above. They should be okay-ish. They're gonna need to get some more tags because that's not safe by any means, but they are good.
Yeah, and it's 15 players right now who could potentially end up going down in the Storm Surge. And what we saw in the last zone as we got there is the aggression came out now before Storm Surge ended up turning on. So lots of shots being traded out because the teams who are below don't really want to wait until the pressure's on them. So you can see 𝕙𝕢𝕒𝕒, Chicken, and Endy only 16 damage above. And with so much kind of line of sight in trees in different areas that you're safe here, if you don't already have your surge points, you're basically looking for tags on people who are also looking for surge. So you're just going to end up trading it back and forth. You can see Box by 𝕦𝕤𝕐𝕐 down to just a sliver of HP as FJAA also being backed off. 𝕤𝕒 and Co. trying to look for a little bit of space as Falconer and Chris trying to get wall to wall. They're 79 below. Don't forget, they're in third place. They're that horse who's just now kind of rounded the bend and hoping to get there, but he was able to get a knock onto Box by 𝕦𝕤𝕐𝕐, but I think they need to find the confirmation on the backside as Epic Whale able to pick up a knock onto Rengoku in the feed. That's in the top left-hand side. Quinn gets a finish onto 𝕦𝕐𝕐. We're going to swing on over. This is the second place trio as they are 318 above, but all of a sudden you can see Snacky is down fast, able to create a little bit of room. Storm Surge is hammering down on the team who's right above them, but they are as far away from that zone as possible.
And Rex just ended up getting knocked there in the feed. We've definitely got to keep our eyes on that and see what happens. Our first place trio getting taken down, maybe a peg or two. No, 𝕙𝕠𝕒 going to get back in it. Epic Whale still going to get finished off there. And I don't know if it's just 𝕙𝕠𝕒 left or if Rex is there. No, Rex is down as well. So it is just 𝕙𝕠𝕒 left.
Yo, give me the 𝕙𝕠𝕒 cam. Observers, where you at? If he's on his feet, we want to see it. If not, yeah, there it is. Thank you so much. 3 eliminations. Already have that first +5, but this could be the first time we see one of the top two really falter and fall outside of that second placement threshold, because something we were talking about with Fast, Kenshi, and Snacky is even in their absolutely awful games, they were inside the key placement thresholds, able to just eke out the points, getting that 23rd place, getting that 17th place in the match number 1 here. You see 𝕙𝕠𝕒 able to trade a big 175 tag. That was Chicken who ended up taking that, but he's going to need to then invest into the resources. We know the zone pull is going super far south. That's a decent change falling off the verticality, but in general is a little bit more of a favorable area. As you can see, 𝕙𝕠𝕒 just trying to have a little bit of room. If he can stay up on his feet, Storm Surge is off. One more trio needs to go down until he gets his +3. But the reality of the situation is we've seen these guys do incredibly absurd thing. The solo impact score from each individual on this trio is nuts at any given time, and that's the amount of points they're able to accrue when they're in these kind of solo situations. And we'll see where the zone pulls, and he got a pretty good pull, Clay.
Luckily they did, and honestly we saw him going for those Storm Surge tags onto Chicken. Anytime you're a solo, anytime you're a duo, any tags you get are so great. Put you in such a good spot, and in actuality he's not going to have to worry about Surge for this next moving zone. 100 builds as well will put him in a great spot. But, again, they've got 3 elims. Fast and Company got 2. They still are up an extra 2 points on them coming into this game. What can 𝕙𝕠𝕒 find, though? He's going to be able to recycle that launch pad, which will be great for them. He's going to take a bit of damage rotating through, but we'll be able to fly right into zone, get as far ahead as he can. And honestly, just interesting that he chose to go to the side.
That was a horrible decision. I'm sorry. He could have been able to get to the side. It was weird that he tried to land directly on top of somebody for a box there. I think he ended up missing out on a placement threshold there too, but generally you expect a lot better from 𝕙𝕠𝕒 in that situation. Yeah, they were outside of that top 17, so for the first time pretty much, literally in the entire tournament that we've had the 4X, the champions coming through and dropping outside of that first placement threshold, and now is an opportunity for Snacky, Kenshi, and Fabs to really push forward, open up that lead for 𝕤𝕒, Chris to be able to push forward and try and put their name in that hat for the top 2. But the reality of the situation is we want to stick with these guys and we want to see what they can do, because if they're able to stretch out that lead, things get real interesting going into the final 3 games.
They're above Surge. They got a good amount of mats and area to work with. They're going to drop on down. Kytrex will fall. They're going to claim that mid. Now moving all the way to low ground. Can they find that? Can they operate on the low ground? That'll be what they have to figure out, because we've seen them time and time again on the high ground, in the mid ground, but dropping all the way down here, will they be able to find the same success that they've had on the high ground?
It'll be interesting because they haven't necessarily been operating there, but they have a great loadout for it. As you can see, that Epic SMG box to box, when you're like 2 boxes away, it just rips it to shreds. Doesn't matter if it's those hard builds, if it's the wood, it will tear through. As you can see, some plays being made on the backside of the zone. Is 𝕙𝕬𝕤𝕒𝕒 able to pick up 1 elim, but can he get the return? He's just barely enough HP with the Siphon, just barely ticking over. You can see a cleanup coming through, some Cabbages being pushed into him. They're trying to get shields down first, knowing that the Siphon will end up coming through. He's going to start popping the Cabbages. He will leave a med kit back there, though, so a little bit of a fumble risky. The placement points continue ticking over, and don't forget, they have now taken over that first place spot. Epic Whale, Rex, and Arkham went down. They got a okay number of eliminations, but weren't able to get inside of that top 17, as now we have our top 12 trying to push into the top 10. 8th zone about to close here in 22-second. Kenshi picking up a knock in the feed. He's also able to get the confirmation. Snacky doing a great job, honestly, working box to box and just grabbing away whatever damage he can, even with, I think he accidentally has 2 bumps in there, but it doesn't matter. He says, I'll hit the damage of 190. An immediate reset takes down Notch. That was huge.
This is a great game to separate that lead back into their favor. They're getting so many eliminations, but Falconry and Chris are still here as well. They're operating with Kenshi going down. They've got to be careful. High ground, I don't know exactly who's on it, but look at how many eliminations they have. Kenshi and Fab's going to fall, though. They sit on 6. Snacky, can he get more than 2? Can they find any extra room to operate? Either way, that's still a lot of eliminations. Look at 𝕙𝕐𝕦𝕤𝕒𝕒 Chicken and Andy up on the high ground, though. They want to win another game. They want to get back up. They were in 7th place with everyone going down in front of them. This is their opportunity. Snacky going to drop down. 157 is going to get the knock. That may be an elim. It's going to be on to Reed. What a big elim it was. Going to pick up the chug cannon as well. Has time to heal back up. Does he have the mats? No pressure is there. He's going to get another one. That's going to be on to Chris. He says, you want to take first place away? Well, you're going to have to work harder than that. He's taken down first. And he took down second this game, and now looking so great.
That was a monstrous swing, both from the direct contention going through and just guaranteeing points. 𝕙𝕐𝕦𝕤𝕒 will secure their 2nd victory royale so far out of the 12 games. Match 1 and then match number 9 going through to put them back in. But man, what a run and a push there from Fabs, Snacky, and Kenshi to really, they're in first place spot now. We talk about tournament management, 3 games left going in. They've created a decent amount of separation. The question now, can they hold on and upset the typical apple cart in NA West?
I don't know. We'll see, but we've got to send it over to Zeke, Panda, and Kelly to break it all down.
Do I celebrate or not? This is the question that I ask myself. Because I'm 100% team Arkham Rex and Epic Whale, but I also kind of want to see the VP throned. Okay. We're not going to celebrate. That was a sad moment, right? That was a sad moment, Kelly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really think so. I think that that's a good moment. I would love to see more competition, right? I was just saying how, and Sundown put it best, that it was becoming a racehorse where there's just the 3 lead horses and eventually it becomes 2. We want it to be a competition. We want it to go all the way to game 12, not knowing who is going to win. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Kelly. I think it's nice to see a change of pace, especially this is the first time they've fallen outside of top 11, right, in this FNCS. So they fell in 18th place, and for that to happen, that means no placement. Like, they did get a couple eliminations, but placement points, they're key.
So rough indeed. I cannot believe that that's how it go, but honestly, I mean, I guess it's fine, right, because they had the great game. They just had 15 elims. And now it's like, okay, you could drop a game, that's fine. I mean, we kind of saw stuff like this even last season, right? Like, where they did have these almost like outliers, but it just still didn't matter at the end.
Well, we haven't seen the leaderboard just yet, so we don't know how that's impacted the game. I think that they're definitely still going to be in the top 3, maybe even just moving down to 2nd. But Reet lasted a long time there. Obviously, Fabs, Kenshi, and Snacky up in first place now, 309 points. But look, I was talking about it. It's a separation from 3rd from the rest of the pack, and that point difference now gets even bigger.
Yeah, and that it does, and that's actually a substantial difference. So over 20-point difference, and if you don't know, Fab's team came in 4th place in that last game with 10 eliminations. So they realized, right? They realized they had that victory royale. They had 60 limbs, and it still wasn't enough to hold off Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. So they said, you know what? We got to turn up the heat. We got to get some more elims.
I feel like actually what we just saw in the last game, not the one that we just watched, where Arkham Rex and Epic Whale went on a tear, and it was actually Favs, Kenshi, and Snacky that grabbed the VR. We kind of saw that with Favs, Kenshi, and Snacky. I mean, in that game 2 games ago, they were below threshold. They barely had any eliminations. I think with their VR, they only grabbed 6, which is a little bit odd. So to see them get 4th place with 10 eliminations, they're showing that they're not just playing passively, they're not just taking height, they can also grab those elims as well.
Yeah, they're definitely grabbing everything going their way. But I got to talk about it. Symmetrical, Ilithi, and Frappi climbing to 10th place. I said it every time the leaderboard has shown up. They're slowly creeping up. They were in 12th place, then 11th, and now they are in 10th place right now. So a nice little creep up into the top 10. Could we continue to see them climb? That's the question I want to get answered.
I mean, me too. Also have to give a shout out to the team that just grabbed that VR. Chicken, Jelty, and Andy now sitting in 4th place with 2 victory royales. But we have to look. We were just talking about it in game number 9. The absolute insanity of Epic Whale going through a tear. Once we got into the mountain zone, though, that's where things really started to heat up.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting to watch game to game, right? Because in game number 8, they had 15 eliminations. Then in game 9, they end up falling early in 18th place. So finding a balance between the two is important. Having these big games like you're watching right here with 15 eliminations helps carry them that much further on the leaderboard. But we got to talk about Favs, Kenshi, and Snacky, because looking at these stats here, Kelly, this is pretty impressive.
They have 4 double-digit elimination games, and what's even scarier is that majority of their eliminations are all against the top 10. Now, I think a part of that is the fact that they don't really enter too many early engagements. A lot of their eliminations are from the mid to late game. So I guess by that point, the top 10 are the ones that are lasting. Oh, that last stat! That's so mean, but that's amazing!
It is eliminations versus Rex and Company 6, which means they have a decent chunk of their eliminations going to that powerhouse trio we know as Arkham Rex and Epic Whale.
That's what I want to see.
So Kelly is in fact pro Rex and Company because she's upset that stat was even shown. So what you're seeing is I was right. Kelly lied about not caring. Therefore, we continue to root for Rex and Company. That's right. No. We have to see. This is going to come down to the wire. Okay, we've got another 3 games ahead of us. I think Favs and Company can go all the way, but it depends, right? We'll have to see how Rex, Arkham, and Epic will choose to respond in this game after that last subpar game. But don't worry, they've got 3 to make it up. But for now, you heard the battle bus. So we're going back to Sundown and Clay. Let's do this.
You got the mic. Hi. I'm gonna leave the game.
Sup.
Look, the smallest, not just walking chunk. Yeah, smallest groups. Compared to their brothers, compared to these guys are the bigger groups. And your mom lived with the on these guys. She's like, yeah, you're right.
How would you know? How would you know?
If your father's hurting.
I don't even fart like that much anymore. That's the old me. I don't fart like that craziness much anymore.
What game mode is this?
My husband Victor passed away September 12th, 2017. He had a massive heart attack at work, and it was quite a shock to all of us.
He says, please tell her that she could not have prevented
Wildlife,
my heart.
I think.
He's like, I died unexpectedly. There was nothing you could have done to prevent it. He says, and that was the way that I wanted to go. He says, I always said, I don't want something with his illness. I don't want my family to have to be sick. He says, so I just want my family to know that I truly am okay. It was almost like
Why don't you talk? Simple, there's nothing to talk about. Come talk about how you like the game mode so far, or the new updates. Honestly, I don't like this mode, but I want the reward. What's the reward? Y'all got this. You can't fish. Hey Core. Hi. Prue. A. Am good. I meant. Did something happen to your mic? No. Why you no talk? Wanna 1v1. Am getting off.